think what I miss the most is those. I think somehow I enjoyed and I derived a lot of pleasure by working extremely long hours. We still continue to do that in some form or fashion, but you're all on your own, right? Like you're pretty much remote or you're working in your home and trying to, connect over Zoom calls or whatever that is. But I think what I really enjoyed it was, sitting together and trying to solve a problem. And there was no dearth of problems, there was no shortage of problems. You had so many problems to solve for, whether those were cases, whether those were business cases that we were building, whether those were extremely complex valuations that we were doing. Those are some of the things that I kind of miss. I kind of miss that fast paced but chaotic, I would say, almost at a point where it's chaotic, right? But there was a lot of method to that madness. I mean, there used to be some extremely radical suggestions that would come out of the team. I think sometimes when it happens, what happens is no matter which organizations you are, organizations are efficient runners, right? Like you've got to be extremely efficient in your day-to-day operations, and sometimes you kind of are so sucked into making sure that your team is being efficient, your team is not overworking, your team is optimize. I mean, something similar to cricket or any sport, right? You want to keep your team fresh. You want to get the best out of your team and try to motivate the team all the time. And sometimes you're a little vulnerable to the fact that if we go that extra mile, will the team break down, right? So I think that fear never existed. I think it takes some time when you get into organizations to get that kind of attitude within the team. Yeah, so I think that's I think I've kind of shared this kind of experience with a lot of my other senior leaders and CEOs across Walmart, and they feel that it's a very interesting perspective. And but yeah, you got to balance because everybody's got families, everybody has to go back. And how do you kind of try to pick your battles and try to pick the moments where you stretch the team versus where you kind of let go and let the team do its thing. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think the concepts or think of it as like formulas. I mean, you're not going to ever use formulas, but a lot of the analytic acumen that you develop, no matter what courses you do in MBA, I think one thing I would probably encourage everybody is to think analytically. And that doesn't mean that you have to be good at math, right? It's just more of a logical reasoning that you put out together. And nowadays with the technology, you really don't have to do anything on your own. I mean, there's always tools and technology in place to do that. But what to use when is really more very important. And that's, I think, what has, in general, MBA has really taught me. And I think the kind of courses that I took in Queens kind of helped me. I think I got lucky and fortunate that the courses that I took kind of aligned with the career path that I got into. So that is really what it is. I mean, it gives you a very strong foundation. It lets you rationally and very reasonably make an argument. And it also kind of, I think, because of generally MBAs are very generic in nature, right? Especially except for your specialized courses that you take. They give you an overview of how things work. They give you an overview of how you actually run a business. And trust me, even nonprofit organizations have a business objective, right? And it might not be money. There is another business objective. So how do you align everything that you do and get your focus back to that one or two or three business objectives, that your organization has? So I think it always let me kind of step back and have a bird's eye view of what things are. I mean, that is really what has served me really well. And I think some of the business cases really help you do that. Participating in case competitions help you do that. I mean, it lets you use some of the learnings that you've done in your academics, put into use. So I think that's where it is. I don't. There are certain profiles and careers that you absolutely use, like revenue management, private equity is another area that you absolutely use. I mean, you still want to look at it from a business point of view. But yeah, there are absolutely certain courses that you're absolutely very aligned to what you've learned academically. But I think these are the kind of cross-functional leverage points that I was able to use.